The sun barely touches the horizon, painting the boreal forests in shades of pink and blue. Everything is calm. The air crunches beneath each step, and the silence seems to stretch as far as the eye can see. Welcome to Swedish Lapland, a land where nature speaks in whispers and time is measured in moments of stillness. Here, in Abisko and Kiruna, the winter days stretch between the dimness of the polar night and the soft light of a sunrise that seems endless. Among these mountains and frozen lakes, the northern lights become a silent presence, dancing across the sky without words, bearing witness to a world that invites pause and reflection. We will venture into this landscape of ice and fire, where every sled crossing the snow, every reindeer track, and every distant campfire draws us closer to something deeper. A silence that is not absence, but presence. The boreal forests of Lapland stretch as far as the eye can see, an endless blanket of pine and spruce trees covered in snow that crunches under every step. Each tree seems to whisper ancient stories, echoes of centuries that have watched the seasons change without haste. The frozen lakes reflect the sky like giant mirrors, doubling the clouds and the first light of dawn in a silent play of shapes and colors. Walking along their shores, one feels every breath blending with the vastness, and the outside world fades away, leaving only the texture of the ice beneath your fingers and the wind caressing your cheek. Beyond, the mountains of the Scandinavian Alps rise with an ancestral presence, their sharp peaks breaking the horizon line. They are not just geographical formations, they are guardians of time, witnesses to millennia-old cultures that learned to read the land and respect its rhythm. Polar light transforms the landscape into a shifting canvas. During the few days of light, golden and orange tones bathe the snow, while in the polar night, the darkness envelops everything in a deep blue that invites introspection. Each season leaves its mark, and every dawn or twilight reveals different shades, making the journey a constant dialogue between the observer and nature. In this realm of silence, the northern lights appear as a language of their own, where science and mythology intertwine. For the Sámi, these green and violet lights are not mere physical phenomena. They are spirits dancing across the sky, messengers of the gods of the north. Physics explains their origin in the interaction of solar particles with Earth's magnetic field. But even with all the knowledge in the world, it is impossible not to shiver at their supernatural beauty. Swedish Lapland alternates between extremes. The midnight sun floods the summer days with constant light, while the polar night of winter envelops everything in profound silence. Between these opposites emerges the phenomenon of the blue moment, those magical minutes before sunrise or after sunset, when the world seems suspended in a deep, luminous blue, where time stops and every detail takes on a more intense significance. Even the rivers seem to transform. The Torn, covered in ice, reveals ephemeral sculptures created by freezing and cracking water, geometric shapes that shift with the wind and temperature, a reminder of the impermanence and fragility of nature. Amid these landscapes, the wildlife moves with discretion, adapted to solitude and the rigors of winter. Reindeer, both wild and domesticated by Sámi communities, cross forests and plains, symbols of resilience and of an ancestral bond between humans and nature. Their steps on the snow produce barely a whisper, and their serene gaze reflects a world that has learned to wait and listen. Arctic foxes, with coats that change with the seasons, slip between bushes and rocks, appearing and disappearing like ghosts of the forest. Migratory birds, though present only at certain times, bring subtle music to the air, reminding us that even in silence, life flows in cycles connecting the Arctic to the rest of the planet. Every animal is an integral part of the Sámi ecosystem. Their existence is not isolated, but intertwined with the culture, subsistence, and spirituality of the northern people. Observing them in their natural habitat is learning to listen without words, to perceive the silent harmony that sustains life in one of the most extreme and beautiful places on Earth. In the heart of the Arctic, where silence stretches like a blanket, live the Sámi, ancestral guardians of these lands. Their history is not written in great battles or conquests, but in the ability to read nature, to perceive life in every change of wind, in every crack of ice, in the trace of a reindeer across the snow. For them, the land is not a resource, but a conversation partner. Every hill, river, or lake has a voice that deserves to be heard. The concept of arbadietu encapsulates this wisdom. Traditional knowledge passed down through generations, combining careful observation, intuition, and deep respect for the cycles of nature. Every decision, when to move a reindeer herd, how to build shelters, which territories to respect, is imbued with this philosophy. Reindeer herding is not just an economic activity. It is a way of inhabiting the world that teaches patience, adaptability, and humility. Watching a Sámi herder guide their reindeer is witnessing a silent dialogue between humans and animals, a slow dance reflecting centuries of harmony with an extreme yet generous environment. This spiritual connection with the land is evident in everyday gestures. Every reindeer, every cabin, every trail is in tune with the rhythm of nature. There is no rush, no imposition, only listening and responding. It is a way of life that challenges our perception of time and space, inviting the understanding that inhabiting a place means comprehending its language, its secrets, and its silences. Today, Sámi culture remains vibrant, adapting without losing its essence. Traditional craftsmanship, known as duaji, produces objects that are both practical and beautiful. Knives forged with skill, textiles combining ancestral colors and patterns, leathers tanned with patience. Each piece is a tangible testament to the connection between creativity, necessity, and respect for the environment. The joik, the Sámi song, is another way of listening to the land. It is not merely music, it is an attempt to imitate nature, to reflect landscapes, animals, or emotions through the voice. Each joik is unique, and listening to one reveals the intimacy between the singer and their surroundings, the way a human can become another instrument within the Arctic Symphony. Contemporary festivals, like the Jokkmokk Winter Market, are spaces where tradition and modernity meet. There, merchants, artisans, and families gather in an exchange of knowledge, colors, and flavors. It is a reminder that Sámi culture is not frozen in the past. It reinvents itself. It blends, yet always maintains its connection with the land and animals. This tension between continuity and change reflects a quiet resilience, the ability to exist without disappearing in a rapidly moving world. Silence cannot be understood simply by looking at it. It is learned by walking on the snow, listening to the crunch of the trees, and letting the wind carry away the words we think are necessary. It is a state to be inhabited, a space that opens only when we are truly willing to listen. If you want to join us on these journeys, where every landscape has its own language and every corner holds secrets, subscribing is more than a click. It is a choice to walk together along paths where time seems to stand still. There are places that exist only for those who dare to listen, and every subscription, every bell you activate, is a promise not to miss these silent destinations waiting to be discovered. Let yourself be guided by stillness and allow the northern lights, the boreal forests, and the frozen rivers to teach you to perceive beyond the visible. In Swedish Lapland, the landscape does not speak only with wind and ice. It also whispers ancient stories that have survived for centuries in the memory of the Sámi among them. The figure of Stalu, the mountain troll, warns against arrogance and recklessness. It is said to stalk those who do not respect the limits of nature, a reminder that every valley, river, and forest has invisible guardians. Biaivi, the goddess of the sun and fertility, embodies hope and renewal. During the long winters, the Sámi celebrated her return in rituals marking the return of light and life. Every gesture, song, and offering was an act of connection with the environment, teachings that still resonate in the way the community respects and protects the land. The Northern Lights, meanwhile, captivate not only with their color and movement. Legends speak of dancing spirits traversing the sky, messengers of the ancestors, or omens demanding attention and care. Each story, each myth, reinforces a simple yet profound principle. Survival and harmony depend on listening, observing, and acting with respect toward all that surrounds us. In these legends, nature is wise and sacred, and every human who sets foot on this land eventually learns to recognize its language. Beyond myths, Swedish Lapland has a history marked by human endeavors that rival the grandeur of its landscape. The railway between Kiruna and Narvik, built in the early 20th century, was an epic project crossing mountains and fjords, connecting the interior's wealth with the sea, and enabling the transport of iron buried in these lands. Every bridge and tunnel stands as a testament to ingenuity, sacrifice, and the human desire to reach the remote. The iron mine in Kiruna has been a source of prosperity, but also of territorial transformation. The city itself had to be relocated, displacing homes and streets, a tangible reminder of how wealth can alter the natural rhythm of a place. Swedish polar expeditions, seeking to understand and map these lands, added another layer to the Arctic narrative. Exploration, science, and ambition, always confronted by the harsh climate and the uncertainty of the polar night today. The Esrange Space Center reminds us that these latitudes are not just a historical or cultural legacy. They are a laboratory where science and technology interact with unique natural phenomena, linking past and present in the pursuit of knowledge. Every train, mine, expedition, and satellite launched from this remote corner of the world speaks of the ongoing tension between humans and nature, a dialogue that demands respect and care. Today, Swedish Lapland faces new challenges and opportunities. Sustainable tourism offers the chance to connect with the landscape without disturbing it, while over-tourism threatens to erode the serenity that defines this place. Visitors quickly learn that here, every step, every gesture has visible consequences. The crunch of snow, the trace left behind, the silence broken. Climate change is a silent yet powerful actor. Retreating glaciers, shifting rivers, and changing vegetation tell visual stories that need no words. Sámi-led conservation projects seek to protect both wildlife and traditions, ensuring that ancestral knowledge continues to guide the way of life and respect for the environment. The future of silence depends on our ability to listen, to value what the Arctic offers beyond the visible. Every legend, every historical expedition, and every contemporary action are woven into a single thread: the need to learn to inhabit the world without imposing upon it. In this region, every story written in the snow is also a reminder of our responsibility and of the beauty of a silence that still has much to teach. In Swedish Lapland, a journey is not measured in kilometers, but in experiences that transform from the very first moment. Riding a dog's sled beneath a sky illuminated by the northern lights is more than an adventure. It is a choreography between human, animal, and nature. Every bark, every stride across the snow becomes a silent dialogue with the wind, the light, and the vastness surrounding us. Walking with snowshoes allows one to slow down, feel the snow give beneath the feet, and notice details that would go unnoticed at a normal pace. The trees, the ice crystals on the lakes, even the mist rising from the tundra become protagonists in a landscape that seems to contain the entire history of the Arctic. The traditional sauna, followed by a plunge into an ice hole, is a ritual of physical and mental transformation. The heat embracing the body and the cold that shocks it awaken a full awareness of the present, a reminder of the extremes nature offers and of how it connects us with ourselves. Long exposure night photography reveals the world invisible to the naked eye. The paths of the stars, the ethereal dance of the aurora, the silhouettes of the boreal forests, all framed in a profound silence that invites introspection. Even ice fishing, simple and meditative, becomes an act of patience and mindfulness. Every movement of a fish in the frozen water, every reflection that arises during the wait, reminds us that inhabiting the Arctic means learning to read its signals, respecting its rhythm, and accepting that some rewards only reveal themselves if we are willing to listen. To get lost here does not mean to be lost. It means opening oneself to the experience of the environment. In Abisko National Park, trails cross valleys and frozen lakes, where human presence dissolves into the vastness of the landscape. Every step becomes an act of observation. Every pause a moment of connection with what surrounds us. The Kungsleden Trail in its winter version offers the possibility of traversing kilometers of tundra and boreal forests, isolated from the modern world, where time is measured by the position of the sun and the rhythm of the reindeer crossing the path. In the frozen archipelago of Luleå, ice-covered channels and snow-blanketed islands create a silent labyrinth, perfect for contemplating the harmony between water, ice, and sky. Off-grid cabins in the tundra are sanctuaries for the traveler seeking total immersion. Without conventional electricity or modern distractions, these spaces allow one to hear the snow, feel the wind, and observe the Arctic unfolding in all its magnificence. Each cabin is a reminder that sometimes, to truly find oneself, it is enough to disappear for a while from the noise of the world and open the senses. In northern Sweden, silence is not absence. It is an active presence, a space that is breathed and inhabited. The concept of lagom, that Swedish idea of balance and moderation, applies here to space itself, neither overcrowded nor completely empty, but just enough for every moment to carry meaning. In the Arctic, silence is not imposed, it is offered, and its generosity transforms those who know how to receive it. The difference between solitude and silence becomes clear. One can be surrounded by people and still feel deprived of listening. Here, however, chosen solitude allows silence to reveal its depth. Emptiness becomes a canvas for introspection, where each thought can flow without the interference of everyday noise. Travelers who have journeyed through these lands speak of subtle yet lasting changes. The mind quiets, perception sharpens, and the body aligns with the rhythm of nature. It is not merely a rest, it is a silent transformation that challenges the way we understand our place in the world. Arctic silence becomes a portal to mystical and spiritual experiences, though not religious. Sitting by a frozen lake as the aurora reflects across its surface, walking among snow-laden pines, or pausing in the middle of a valley lit by the soft polar light, all provoke moments of mental clarity. Time seems to stretch, and consciousness expands, revealing connections that go unnoticed in daily life. The body and mind synchronize with natural circadian rhythms. Light and darkness dictate cycles of activity and rest, and each sunrise or twilight becomes a tangible reminder of life's cycles. The Arctic acts as an emotional reset, a space where inner noise diminishes and perception focuses on the essential. Those who surrender to this emptiness do not seek immediate answers. They discover that wisdom resides in pause, in deep listening, in accepting what is and what remains hidden until one is ready to perceive it. Silence teaches us to hear the invisible, the crunch of ice beneath our feet, our own breath condensing in the cold air, the subtle movement of snow falling from branches. It reveals sounds usually lost in the rush of everyday life, from the whisper of the wind to the distant murmur of a river hidden beneath the ice. Upon returning from the Arctic, those who have learned to inhabit this emptiness carry with them more than memories. They carry the ability to perceive life with renewed attention, to value silent spaces, and to understand that the world, like silence, always has layers waiting to be heard. This lesson remains, discreet yet profound, transforming the way one moves through any landscape, any city, even through one's own existence. Arctic silence stretches beyond the eye can see, carrying with it the question that has accompanied us from the very first moment. What does a place, and ourselves, reveal when we truly learn to listen? A traveler pauses at the edge of a snow-covered valley, their silhouette outlined against a sky painted in orange and violet by the polar sunset. The path behind them disappears into the endless whiteness, and each breath seems to synchronize with the vastness surrounding them. In this suspended moment, it becomes clear that silence has no end. It unfolds in layers, in nuances, in stories waiting to be discovered. There are other silences waiting, hidden among forests, frozen lakes, and mountains that still whisper ancient secrets. Every step we take is an invitation to keep exploring, to let stillness guide us, and to discover what remains hidden until we are ready to hear it. The story of the Arctic does not end here. It extends beyond the horizon, and we, senses still alert, continue walking between its light and shadow, toward new places where silence still has much to teach.